Hey, happy Friday, guys. Should be live now. Hope you guys all had a good week. Quick recap of last night. Last night went really well for me. I told you guys which direction I was going. I was stacking the first game and anticipating the blowout in the second game. Got the blowout. Denver's on short rest, on one-day rest. So, it went really well. Had multiple people take down GPPs last night. At least 3 or 4 people messaged me. A lot of you guys had really good nights as well, if you went that same direction that I went with. It was a really, really good night. I cashed as well in my tournament. It's not as good, but I min-cashed all my tourneys. So, real quick before I get into the breakdown here, if you guys are new to the channel, new to the live stream, how it works, I'll go over all the news that we have. We just got the big news there for, I guess somewhat big news, but for Miami. We'll take a look at the Vegas odds, and then I'll give you guys a team-by-team breakdown, and then get to questions at the end. So, if you guys enjoy it, would really appreciate it if you could hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. All right, let's see. How's your day going, DK? It's going pretty good. It was a really, really busy day today for me, but happy now to be talking about NBA. We were waiting on Iguodala and Olynyk news. They were both questionable. We got Iguodala available to play. Actually surprised me a little bit because he was hobbling pretty bad. And then Kelly Olynyk ruled out. So does that change a lot? Not necessarily. I think Bam maybe plays a few extra minutes. And then maybe Crowder picks up. I don't think they're going to run... I don't think Myers Leonard is going to get in the rotation. I just think, the other wings will get a few extra minutes because it's not like Milwaukee runs big when Brook Lopez is not out there, right? They have Marvin Williams. So Miami could easily just match him with Crowder, Iguodala, and just kind of run more small ball there. And then we got the starting lineup for both teams. Trojic, Butler, Robinson, Bam, and Crowder. Bucks is Bledsoe, Matthews, Milton, Giannis, and Brook Lopez. That's what we expected. So let's take a look at some of these, or the two games Vegas odds-wise. We have Bucks, we have Heat. It's a 222.5 over-under. Bucks are 5-point favorites. Must win, in my opinion, for them. They do not want to go down 3-0, so they literally have to win this game. Rockets, Lakers is a 226 over-under. Lakers are 7-point favorites. Someone mentioned, am I worried about the blowout there in the late game because the Rockets are also on only one-day rest? A little bit, but not as much as I was for that Denver game yesterday. The Denver guys were just getting huge minutes. Jokic and Murray were both playing, averaging 43 minutes a game in that series. So, I'm not as worried. And Mike D'Antoni, anyways, will just run the starters till the very end, no matter what. So, doesn't worry me too much with the potential, the slight chance there that the game does blow out. All right, so let's take a look at, or let's start with Milwaukee today. Giannis Antetokounmpo's at 11-5. Well, we have a lot of stars on this 2-game slate. We have Giannis, we have Harden, we have the 2 Lakers guys. I mean, Jimmy and Bam, if you consider them stars. So, and not a lot of standout value. There are playable guys under 4K, but no one I feel amazing about. So, I'm probably not going to get to Giannis again here. I faded him the first 2 slates. It's worked well for me. I'm going to fade him again. I don't feel comfortable enough with the value around to get him in there. I like Giannis. I think he's probably going to do better than he did the first couple of games, but I think it's just sacrificing a little bit too much right now. You really need your value guys to do really solid, or you need Giannis to just go absolutely crazy. And Miami's just been defending him really, really well. So I'm not going to get to Giannis at 11-5. He was 70% on the first slate. Went down a good amount to 35%. I think that drops even more, but I still don't think I'm going to do it. Now, Middleton's in the mid-range at 8-2. I've played him actually the last couple slates. I didn't play Giannis. He had 47-41 fantasy points. I think he makes for a good play in the mid-range. I don't think he's necessarily going to kill you. He'll play 35-ish minutes. Right now, he's doing it all. Obviously, when Giannis is out, too, he's the guy that they go to. So I think Middleton makes for a pretty good play in the mid-range. And right now, the way I'm leaning is, once again, balanced. For the 3rd or 4th straight night, I'm leaning towards the balanced approach. there's playable value. We'll get to it, but don't feel confident enough with them. I don't know if the Stars have the upside to really break the slate for this two-gamer. So I think Middleton makes for a good play in the mid-range. I also like Eric Bledsoe at 5'7". He played 31 minutes the last game. So that's good to see because he was playing like 25-ish minutes in the Orlando series. If they're going to run him out 30-plus minutes at 5'7", I think he makes for a really good play first price. Sure, it's Budenholzer, right? Still has deep rotation. Still could go to George Hill, who played well. But it's really good to see that the minutes went up for Bledsoe and the price didn't really move, right? Like he jumped like 5 or 6 minutes and he stayed at the same price. So I think Eric Bledsoe at 5'7", probably my favorite point per dollar play on the Bucks. Again, I think Middleton's good. I'm not going to get to Giannis. But I think for his price, he probably looks the best to me. Brolo's in play, too, at 5'6". Center is pretty weak on the slate. Like, are you going to go to Bam at 8K? You have Brolo, then you have a bunch of, like, value. Or, obviously, you could use Anthony Davis at the center spot. What we're going to get at Brook Lopez is we'll get the minutes. He'll play 30-ish minutes. He's a little bit scoring dependent, though. As a center, he kind of has hit his threes. The upside is still there. Like, he can go for 40-plus. We've seen it from him so far in this bubble a couple times. Again, he has to hit his threes. He's been shooting pretty decent. 7 of 12, 8 of 10, 5 of 8. So he's a guy that I don't have a really strong take. I'm fine if you land on him. I'm fine if you fade him. I think he's a good play in the mid-range. George Hill's a 4-3. The minutes went down, obviously, with Bledsoe coming back. In 26 minutes, he was still decent. Like, I think he's playable, but again, I'm not going to go out of my way to play George Hill. So if you land on him as a last piece, that's fine, but I don't think 4-3 George Hill really stands out for like 20, 25-ish minutes. Matthews at 3-5 is a viable punt, as gross as that sounds. If you're going that Stars and Scrubs approach, you're going to have to play a player like this, or one of those Lakers guys, or Marvin Williams. Like, you're going to have to take a shot at one of those guys if you're going Superstars and Scrubs, or at least a couple. I just don't have a good feel. Like, can Wes Matthews get 15 to 20? Yeah, but he really has hit his threes. Other than that, the floor is super, super low on him, so it's a super high risk, but he's in play because of the minutes. Pat C's an avoid for me. DiVincenzo's an avoid. I'm not playing Korver. Marvin Williams, the last guy I'll mention, another play that you're not going to feel good about at all. But he has played 21 and 22 minutes the first couple games so far in the series, which is good to see. So, yeah, I think he probably gets you 10 to 15 fantasy points. It's really not like what he does, it's more of what he allows you to get into your lineup. So, yeah, I put him in the same category as a guy like Wes Matthews. I'm not going to play those guys, but if you're going Stars and Scrubs, like, those are guys you have to consider. So, all in all, brief recap again of Milwaukee. Bledsoe's probably my favorite play. If he continues, now, the minutes could go back down to 25. I don't know, but I'm assuming he gets the same minutes as last game. If he gets 31, 32 minutes at 5'7", I think that looks like a pretty good price tag for him. I also have Anderson Middleton. Giannis is a fade for me. Brolo's fine in the mid-range. Okay with George Hill, but probably better plays for their point per dollar. And then Matthews, Marvin Williams, some more just dart throws. If you go in that Stars and Scrubs build, they're viable, but don't feel good about them. Miami. So, Jimmy Butler's at 8-3. Kind of disappeared that last game, to be honest. It was a really, really balanced attack here from Miami last game. 8.3K. He can still get you there at that price. So him and Middleton are pretty similar plays for me. I like them in the mid-range. Again, I just feel more comfortable playing a bunch of guys like a Middleton, like a Jimmy Butler, like a Robert Covington. Those guys, I feel more comfortable building my lineup like that than I do jamming in Giannis, jamming in Harden, and then having to play a guy like Marvin Williams or Rajon Rondo, or you know what I'm saying? So I feel more comfortable with the guys in the mid-range once again. Jimmy can definitely go for 50+. I don't think he's going to only shoot the ball 8 times. So he's a guy that the ownership will drop too after the last game. So I'm perfectly fine with Jimmy in the mid-range. And I'm also fine with Bam. I think the minutes do go up with no Kelly Olynyk. Does he get closer to 38 like he did the first game? If that's the case, like Bam could have a really good day for his price. Only playing 33 the last game, I think was partly due to Kelly O coming off the bench and shooting the ball really well. So I think Bam does get a slight boost here. with Jimmy and Bam, who do I prefer? I think I slightly prefer Bam and Adebayo, but it's like so close. So really whatever works with your lineup there with either of those main Miami guys. And Drogic's a guy I have played literally, I think, like the last 4 or 5 slates, and I will continue to play him. The price is not moving. He's playing 35 minutes. He's doing it all. Good score. I like Goran Dragic once again. Now, he will be popular, right? The last slate, he was like 60% owned in the higher dollar tournaments. I expect 50-ish%, I would say, from Trojic. Maybe not that much. I don't know. I guess it's dependent on what people are, how they're attacking the slate. But I still like Trojic, is what I'm trying to say. I like all 3 of the main Miami guys because it's just the balanced build feels better on the slate once again. Crowder at 5'3", I like too. Played 35 and 36 minutes. Now, sure, Iguodala got injured that last game, but with Kelly O out, you could see like maybe Iguodala picks up a few extra minutes. Like, I don't think they're going to insert a guy like a Myers Leonard in the rotation with no Kelly O. I think it's just a few extra minutes for Iguodala, maybe an extra minute or 2 for Jay Crowder, right? Maybe an extra minute or 2 for Duncan Robinson. I don't think they're going to. They could insert a guy like Myers Leonard or Solomon Hill in there, but I'm not going to take a shot at either of those guys, obviously. So, yeah, the main 3 guys I all like. Crowder I like too. I think 30, 35-ish minutes. I know the price is up to 5'3", but he had a bad shooting day, 5 of 13. Still put up 32 fantasy points. So I think he makes for a pretty decent play in the mid-range. I really like Tyler Hero, again, 5'2". I was high in him the last slate because I knew he would be low-owned, right? That first game, he had a bad shooting day, went for 16 fantasy points, and you saw the ownership drop big time. He was like 10 to 15% owned that last slate. 32 minutes, 30 fantasy points. I like him again. I think he's a good play in this mid-range. I just feel more comfortable getting to guys like this than having to play guys like Wes Matthews, Marvin Williams, Rondo, Danny Green, right? So I just like the balanced build better. I think these guys look, and these guys have upside, right? A guy like Tyler Hero can go for 40 if he shoots the ball really well. A guy like Jay Crowder can definitely go for 30 plus. So I like all these main 5 Miami guys: Butler, Bam, Dragic, Jay Crowder, Tyler Hero. I like all 5. I like all 5 a decent amount too. Duncan Robinson's at 4.6. I'm probably not going to get to him. Did play 27 minutes the last game. He'll play somewhere around 25. He has hit his threes. He can still have upside. Like, the price is slowly coming down on him, but I feel more comfortable right now getting to Tyler Hero. I feel more comfortable getting to a guy like Jay Crowder, who just does a little bit more, whereas Duncan, you're really relying on the 3-ball. So, not saying he's out of play. He's a riskier play just for that reason. Iguodala's at 3.5. So he's gonna give it a go. I think the minutes do go up in him with no Kelly O, but by how much? It's a risky target. Obviously, again, he could re-injure his ankle. He's probably going to be hobbled a little bit. He's playable, right? He's in that same group. Marvin Williams, Wes Matthews, those guys that I don't really feel good about. If you're going the stars and scrubs approach, you probably have to play at least one of those guys like that, and that's the reason why I'm not doing it, because I don't really trust any guys kind of below 4K-ish. No Kelly O. He wasn't playing huge minutes. 10 to 15, played 16 the last game. I think Bam just gets a few extra minutes, and I think just like those wings. I think Crowder, maybe a minute or 2, Duncan Robinson, maybe a couple minutes, and maybe Iguodala picks up more minutes. They could insert Solomon Hill or Myers Leonard, but I just assume they give a few extra minutes to those guys. Or maybe a guy like Derrick Jones Jr., right? He was already in the rotation, wasn't playing big minutes. I'm not going to play him either way, but he could play like 10 to 15 minutes, right? So I don't think the Kelly O news really changes a lot for me. Like, I think the biggest boost, in my opinion, is probably Bam. I think he plays closer to the first game, like 38 minutes. Kendrick Nunn at 3.3. He'll probably get 10-ish minutes. I'm not going to take the shot there. So let's talk about Houston and the Lakers. Harden's at 11.2. I'm not getting to Harden. Not against the Lakers. He's been struggling shooting the ball. Or I guess he struggled the last game. I think Harden can definitely still go for 60 plus, but I don't feel good enough with the value on the slate. That is the reason. Like, I don't hate these stars. I don't hate Giannis. I don't hate Harden. Obviously, I'm scared of fading those guys, but I don't feel comfortable with the value. So Harden's just a guy I'm not going to get to for that reason alone. And it's a tougher spot too. Lakers are pretty good defensively. Now, Westbrook intrigues me at 8.6. Like, he's someone I'm considering. Not in my lineup at the moment, but the 8.6 is a really, really appealing price point. He played 34 minutes the last game too. I assume he's no longer going to be on a minutes limit. I guess we can wait and see, but I don't think he will be. And he's a guy that can definitely go for 50 plus. So like right now, even though Westbrook's been playing not great, I feel more comfortable targeting a guy like Russell Westbrook than I do James Harden. Robert Covington's at 6'3". He is going to be one of the most popular plays of the day. Full disclosure, I'm playing him, but I'm a little bit worried just as I know the ownership's going to be super high. I do not expect him to continue averaging like 4 blocks and 4 steals a game. So what we're going to get out of Roko, though, is 35-ish minutes. Like the minutes will be there. He's been shooting the ball decent, too. So yeah, I think he makes for a good play in the mid-range. He will be popular. There's still a chance he can bust. Definitely. But he's a guy I'm probably going to get to and just eat the chalk, unfortunately. I don't really usually going to guys after like big games, but I think he'll get 35-ish minutes. So yeah, I think Roko's a good play in the mid-range. Now Eric Gordon's a guy I think is in consideration too at 5'8". He's a little bit more risky, right? A little bit scoring dependent. But the minutes, 35 and then 37 the last game, if we're going to get 35-ish minutes out of Eric Gordon, I know he's their number 3 option, but there's been games where Harden's really struggled. Westbrook has really struggled. Eric Gordon's been pretty decent. So I think he's in play for sure in the mid-range. He's definitely a riskier target. Like for safety, I think Roko is probably safer because he does more, right? He can rebounds, block, steals, obviously. Whereas Gordon, you're really relying on him scoring the ball. Tucker's at 4'8". So I mentioned him. I'm probably not going to do it. The minutes will be there, but it's just the price is slowly getting up there. Like he's almost $5K for PJ Tucker. I would just rather get to Eric Gordon for an extra $1,000 or an extra $1,500 for Robert Covington. They're just better offensive players. So I don't hate PJ Tucker, but I just think he's getting to the point now where I think he's a little bit too expensive. And Daniel House is not a guy I'm going to get to at 4'7". He'll play 25-ish minutes. I guess he's in play. He's not out of play, but I'm not going to play him. Jeff Green's at 4'5". I'm probably not going to do it either. Tucker and Roko have really been extended. Unless one of them get in foul trouble, I don't see Green play more than like 20-ish minutes. So I'm probably going to avoid Jeff Green, and then I'm not going to consider Rivers or Malcolm or anyone like that. So let's finish up with the Lakers, guys. LeBron, AD. I think for their prices, the Lakers stars look the best out of all like the stars in the slate. For the reason of I like their matchup the best. I think AD is probably my preferred guy because it's a mismatch for him whenever he's out in the court. Houston runs the small ball. They have no one taller than 6'9". Like AD should be able to go to work, and I think there's a decent chance that the Lakers match the small ball and just use AD a lot more at the 5. He was already a good fantasy point per minute guy, obviously, but I think him playing more of the 5 helps him even more. So yeah, AD is my preferred spend up. I think we get close to 40 minutes from him if the game stays close. And I just like the matchup for him the best. Also, he's the cheapest of the 4 guys. Of Harden, Giannis, LeBron, he's the cheapest. So he is the guy that I like the most of those stars. Not saying LeBron's out of play. They're very, very close plays to me. If you go LeBron over AD, if that works in your lineup, I have absolutely no issue. Like LeBron 100% can outscore AD. I just told you guys, I always tell you guys where I'm going. I'm always open. I'm going with AD and then more balanced. Kuzma's at 5K, just still not enough minutes for me to consider. I'm not playing Kuzma. He needs to get closer to 30 minutes, and the price is not playable enough for me. Dwight Howard, I like, but I'm really worried about his minutes. I saw one of the games against Houston. He only played 5 minutes, I think, in the regular season. So I'm really worried that the Lakers match the small ball here. So if I knew Dwight Howard was going to play 15 to 20 minutes, I would love him at 4K. But I'm really worried about his minutes. I think there's a good chance he gets limited, and for that reason, I think I'm going to stay away. Again, if I knew the minutes would be there, he would probably be my favorite cheap guy. But I am really, really worried that the Lakers match the small ball here, and they just limit Dwight Howard's minutes. Now, with Danny Green and KCP, they're fine, right? They'll play about 30 minutes in a close game. They have to hit their threes, but the minutes will be there. I think I slightly prefer, I prefer Green and KCP more than a guy like Wes Matthews. They'll play more minutes. They do probably a little bit more than Wes Matthews. So I think both these guys will be somewhat popular. I don't really have a strong take. The floor is somewhat low on both of them. I think a floor of like 10, upside of maybe like 30 if they're shooting the ball really well. So yeah, Green, KCP are definitely playable. That's kind of my analysis, right? They're scoring dependent. They have to hit their threes. Somewhat low floor, but the minutes should be there. Price tags are affordable. So perfectly fine with either of those guys. Caruso's a guy I'm going to avoid if Rondo coming back. Just not sure what the minutes will be on Alex Caruso. Paulie with a $15 super chat. Thanks, DK. Love your honesty. Let's get it. Michigan love. Thank you, man. Seriously, I cannot thank you enough for coming in and supporting the live stream all the time. Congrats on the big night last night, too. I know you had a really, really good night. So thank you for the support. But yeah, back to finishing up the Lakers. Caruso's a guy I'm going to avoid with Rondo coming back. I'm worried about his minutes. I don't know what the rotation is going to be. His minutes will go down, but by how much, I don't know. Now, sure, right? If they run small ball, maybe they run him. They could run him and like Rondo together. I don't even know if they would do that, but I'm a little bit worried with the minutes for Caruso. So he's just probably not a guy I'm going to get to. Now Rondo intrigues me at 3-2. How many minutes are we going to get out of Rondo? We have not seen him yet. Obviously, you guys know like narrative playoff Rondo. He usually does come alive in the playoffs. He's at almost min price. I don't know what the minutes are going to be like. Hopefully we get some sort of clarity. I've been doing Twitter search trying to find something. Haven't got good clarity on what his minutes will be like. Is he going to be for sure in the rotation even? So it's a super big risk. But if I knew Rondo was going to play 20 minutes, I would play him. McKee's still at times can be somewhat low floor, but he's a do-it-all guy, right? He'll get you assists, rebounds, can score, like he can definitely go for 20 plus if the minutes will be there. But it's a risky play for sure. 100% a risky play here in Rondo. I don't know what the minutes are going to be like. So yeah, that's kind of what I got. And then last guy I'll mention actually is Markieff Morris at 3-4. He's a guy that could potentially play a few extra minutes if they limit Dwight Howard. So another guy that's super, super risky, and put those guys all in a group if you're playing stars and scrubs, and you can take shots here and there, like Markieff Morris, Rondo, I guess you could throw Caruso in there, McGee, Wes Matthews, Marvin Williams, right? I don't feel really good about any of those guys. McGee is at 3-5. You know what you're going to get out of him. 12 to 14 minutes. He can get you 20 plus, but he's not going to play any more minutes than that. He's playable, but still, I feel more comfortable right now with the balanced build. And that's it for my breakdown. So let's get some questions, guys. Caruso or Iguodala? That's a tricky one, because I think the minutes go down in Caruso, but by how much? I guess I would still be Caruso. I don't want to play either. But I think it would still be Caruso for the fact of I think the Lakers match a small ball, and if that being the case, like he could still get decent minutes even with Rondo playing. So, yeah. Are you getting to Russell Westbrook? I don't have him in right now, but like that's a guy that I like in the mid-range for his price. I guess, yeah, not really mid-range. Westbrook and KCP or Middleton and Danny Green. I think it's Middleton and Danny Green for me right now. It's a close one. Like Middleton and Westbrook are very similar. Like Westbrook does seem really cheap, and he probably has more upside than Middleton. But yeah, that one's really, really close. Playing KCP and Danny viable? Yeah, it is. I wouldn't be overly excited about it, but you can play both. Myers Leonard, no, that's too much. Don't even know if he's going to be in the rotation, so don't play Myers Leonard. Jeff Green, I'm going to pass on Jeff Green. Drogic and Gordon or Westbrook and KCP. Yeah, so I just feel more comfortable right now with Drogic and Gordon. Like I'm just going. Generally, you guys are going to ask me a lot of questions. I'm going to lean towards the balanced one more often than not. Westbrook, Hero, Iggy, or Middleton, Tucker, and Danny Green. I think it's the first one. Yeah, I think it's the first one. DK, do you think Kuzma will play more if Lakers match small ball? That's a good point, too. Like Kuzma could play more, but $5K, you're not really getting him at a great discount. That is a better point. Like I mentioned, Markieff Morris might play a few extra minutes. Kuzma probably does get a few extra minutes, too. He's playable. I'm not going to do it, but I get it if you go to Kuzma. That is a good point. I should have mentioned that. I think he probably does play a few extra minutes. I already have KCP. Core, okay, yeah, so I already told you guys I'm going with the balanced build. So let's see. Who do I want to include in here? Well, I'm going to play the chalk in Covington. I know he's going to be popular, but I'm going to eat the chalk. I'm going back to Goran Dragic for like the 50th straight time. I'm playing him at 7K. Anthony Davis is my spend up. That's the one guy I'm getting to. Sure, there's obviously Harden, Giannis, LeBron if you don't want to get to AD, but AD is the guy for me that I'm spending up on. And then lastly, I'm going to go Eric Bledsoe. I like his price if he continues to get those minutes. Now, sure, the minutes could go down on Bledsoe, but if he gets over 30 minutes at 5.7, I think that looks good. So that's the core I'm giving. 5.1K remaining. You guys can kind of fill the rest out if you want to follow my lead and go with those 4 guys. Rocco, bad chalk? It could be. It could be, right? He's had 3 blocks and 3 steals and 5 blocks and I don't think he's gonna get as many blocks and steals. But he's been shooting the ball well, the minutes have been there. I'm willing to eat the chalk. You can for sure fade Robert Covington. It's not a play like I'm like super excited about, but it's also a 2-game slate. So is Rocco bad chalk? He could be, but I'm playing him. Bledsoe, yep, I like Bledsoe. Jeff Green, yeah, Derrick Jones Jr., I'm not willing to take the risk. He could play 10 to 15 minutes, but I don't think we have to do it on this slate. I don't. Eric Gordon and Danny Green are Duncan and PJ. It's going to be Eric Gordon and Danny Green for me. LeBron and Lopez are AD and Rocco. AD and Rocco for me. You get into Eric Gordon, I don't know if I feel good about him. I have Eric Gordon in. Like, Eric Gordon and Robert Covington are the 2 Rockets guys I have in. I know the risk with Gordon. Like, the minutes will be there. He is scoring dependent, though. So we have not seen the low 4 game yet from Eric Gordon, but it is there. Like, Eric Gordon has a floor of probably 10 to 15 fancy points. If he is not hitting the shots, the floor is super low. So, yeah, I'm a little bit worried about it, but I'm just going with that balanced build. So, yeah, I am playing Eric Gordon. DK thoughts, Westbrook, Hero, Rocco, AD, PJ, Bledsoe, Jay, and Matthews. Looks good, right? You're taking the shot on Wes Matthews. Hopefully he gets you 15-ish. You would be happy with like 15 fancy points. So, yeah, good with that. With no Kelly O, it has to be either Derrick Jones Jr. or Myers Leonard time. Wouldn't take the shot. I just wouldn't do it. I think Bam plays more minutes. I think maybe a couple minutes for Iguodala. Jones Jr. maybe picks up a few extra minutes. I don't think Myers Leonard gets it. I'm not willing to try to figure out that headache. Possibly, right? Possibly Myers Leonard gets in the rotation, but I'm not willing to take the risk. 8 stocks against the Lakers won't happen. I agree, right? I think those blocks and steals go down 100%. But the minutes, right? Rocco will play 35 minutes as long as he stays out of foul trouble. And he's been shooting the ball well. So you can fade Robert Covington. You do not have to play him. I have not played him the last couple of slates. He's been chalk, and he's kind of killed me. Jimmy or Middleton is a really good question. It depends on what the rest of your lineup looks like. How many Heat guys do you have versus how many Bucks? If you have no Bucks, then go Middleton. If you have no Heat, then go Jimmy. Or if you're heavier on the Heat, then go Middleton. If you're heavier on the Bucks, go Jimmy. Right? How does this look, DK? Dragic, Hero, Rocco, Crowder, AD, Bledsoe, Gordon, and Howard. Looks good, but again, my worry with Dwight Howard is that he gets limited. So if you're willing to take that risk, like I think Howard could play like 10 minutes. If you're okay taking that risk of the minutes could be low, then I'm good with it. Because if Howard gets closer to 20, if he gets 15 to 20, like he could be a really, really good play. I'm just worried about his minutes. McGee or Iguodala and KCP or Danny Green. McGee or Iguodala is going to be JaVale McGee there. And then KCP or Danny Green. I guess Danny Green, but that's just like a coin flip. Danny Green or Duncan Robinson or George Hill. Of those 3 guys, I will go Duncan Robinson. I think he has the most upside. Duncan and Danny Green are very similar, scoring dependent, but Duncan's probably the best shooter of those 3. So if you're going for the upside, it's Duncan. If you're going for the safety, it's probably George Hill. Best value, Laker. I mean, I need to see Rondo's minutes if they're going to be at a minutes limit. If I knew Rondo was going to play 20 minutes, I would say Rondo. If I knew Dwight was going to play close to 20 minutes, I would say Dwight. But right now, with me being worried, obviously, of Dwight's minutes and then Rondo's minutes up in the air, I'm going to go with either KCP or Danny Green. Pains me to say it because I don't like playing those guys, but I think they're right now the best options. DK, thoughts? Westbrook, Hero, Rocco, AD, PJ, Bledsoe, Jay, and Matthews. That looks good. I feel pretty comfortable with my lineup. Let's see. Drogic, Hero, Rocco, Crowder, Brolo, LeBron, Gordon, KCP. This is Myers, Leonard, Knight, book it. I'm not going to do it. I think for my balance lineup, taking chances with Drogic, Hero, Rocco, Crowder, Brolo, Gordon, Milton, Bledsoe. Looks good. Thanks for your videos and the effort you put in, brother. Hey, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. Iggy is still hurt. Yes, but he's playing. Again, I'm not going to play Iguodala, but they said he was available, right? Unless I'm losing it. Yeah, Andre Iguodala available to play. Let's see. Real quick, guys, again, hit that like button if you enjoy. I'll stay on for an extra 5 minutes or so answering any last-minute questions. Then we can go over some ownership, too. I think lock just happened. Danny Green, dunk drops. Yeah, I already mentioned. Okay, let's see. Westbrook, KCP, or Drogic, Hero, GPP. Drogic, Hero. Let's see. I got Drogic, KCP, Rocco, Kuz, AD, Westbrook, TJ. It's risky. It's risky, but I'm fine with it. Thanks for all your help, DK. Of course, guys. Again, I love doing this. Like, I literally love talking DFS. I love talking strategy. Hopefully win some money. Take Dwight out. Yeah, I mean, again, I'm just worried with his minutes. If I knew he was going to play 15-ish minutes, I would like Dwight. But House or Kuzma? It's going to be Kuzma for me over House. Kuzma is a guy I was kind of so-so on, but I agree. Whoever brought that up, I think Kuzma does play more minutes, like a few extra with them going smaller. So I would prefer Kuzma. I don't think Kuzma's out of play. And he's a guy that can get hot, right? He's a really good shooter. So, yeah, I would go Kuzma over House. How are you doing on golf? Golf actually doing pretty good right now. Had Abe Answer, who was really good. Xander, JT. I think I'm, like, close to the cash in golf. Yeah, I'm, like, right on the money line. So Abe was doing good. Tony Finau. Xander, JT, Patrick Reed, not great, and Neiman. So I'm like on the money line in tournaments right now for golf. Hill, in my opinion, is 15 to 25 point upside. Yeah, I don't think Hill's going to kill you, but I don't think he's going to win you a GPP. Here, went from 15 to 44% owned. Is he? Okay, so let's go over some ownership. Jeff Green or Danny Green? I'll go Danny Green for his price. Just woke up. What's the play? The play, in my opinion, is balanced. Jimmy only 27% owned. So let's see. Hero, 38%. Goran Dragic is 42%. Jay Crowder, 55%. Eric Bledsoe, 61%. This is in the $66 tourney. Let's see if I can find Giannis, 35%. Brolo, 38%. I'm interested to see what Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo. Duncan is 15%. Marvin Williams is 15%. Those are the people that are going stars and scrubs. Bam Adebayo is 35% owned. And I haven't found Jimmy yet. Jimmy Butler is 21% owned. So, you saw, I mean, this happens every slate, guys. After a guy has a bad game, the ownership just drops in them. I usually like buying in on guys like that. Like, that is my strategy a lot of the times. Is I love going to guys after bad games because the ownership drops big time. Like, Jimmy was 50% owned last slate, and he's 20% owned this slate. Now, I didn't play him, but I like that ownership a lot on Jimmy because people just look at the last game and the ownership goes off of that a lot of the times. Trojic hits a 3 in the first play. Let's go. Love that. LeBron over Harden all day. Yeah, I feel safer with LeBron James. I actually entered a $25 tournament on golf. Watch your vid tonight. Not cashing, but opening for the best. LOL. DK got Drogic, KCP, Rocco, Kuz, AD, Westbrook, DJJ. Yep, I think that looks decent. Derrick Jones Jr. ownership. I haven't found it. I assume it's gonna be low. I assume it's gonna be really low, but yeah, I haven't found it yet. I would say like 5-ish%, maybe less than that. %. Okay, yeah, so that's kind of what I figured. All right, any last minute questions? Or else I will get out of here, guys. I hope you guys all have a good Friday night, long weekend. So I'll have a video up later tonight, obviously for Saturday slate, and I will be live streaming. Obviously, I just realized my comment wasn't even in English. Yeah, it wasn't really English. He'd have too many guys who can step up and front baller for monster game, in my opinion. Yes, but we've also seen 50-plus fancy point games from Jimmy Butler how many times already this playoffs. Like, I agree, they are a more balanced team, but there's also games where Jimmy takes over, and if you're going to get him at super low ownership, then, oh, it's good, right? He had 53 game one, 48 there he had almost 50 in 3 games so far in the playoffs. So the upside is there. Middleton over Butler for me. Yeah, that was a close call. It really was like, if I had more Bucks in my lineup, I would have went Jimmy. If I had more Heat in my lineup, I would have went Middleton. I reread it. It's like you rushed to type. All right, guys. Well, I'm going to get out of here. Have a good Friday night. And I will be back with another video later tonight and live stream tomorrow. So I will see you guys all then.